Hello guys and welcome back. This one will be a lighting tutorial, to get you started with upping your lighting skills. What you're seeing here is a set of lighting profiles, and we're gonna see how we can achieve them in Blender. What I have here is an armchair set, that we once shared on this channel, and the lightings we will do can apply on any model you have. So before we start, I will add a camera to the scene. Try to focus it on the main model you have. Use the lock camera to view option to set it up in the easiest way. I will also add a plane to work as a floor and background, scale it up to fit, and extrude those edges in the back to cover the scene. We can also select those edges and bevel them to keep the background smooth. Now that we're done with that, we can split the work area. We will be working on the right side and leave the left on render. So, in the render settings, make sure it's on cycles, and enable the denoise if needed. I will keep it off for the viewport render. In the world settings, make the color black, then we will start by adding an area light, place it over the model, and scale it up to fit. Make sure it's outside the camera frame. In the light settings, increase the power to around 25 for this light. So, what we usually need is at least 3 lights around the object, one casting from the top, and the other 2 from each side of the camera. Hit Ctrl D to copy the area light to the left side of the camera, and direct it toward the model with the rotate tool. Try to change the power in each light just to give it more of a dynamic look even though they all white in color. Again, copy the light to the camera right side and direct it to the model with the rotation command. For this light, we will make it 40 in power, and that's the basic of it. I will add a material to the floor before we continue, and just make the color dark. Some of you might try to add some reflections to the floor, and that's not recommended. You don't need to create a distraction around your model. We can now continue with this simple lights set by adding extra couple of lights to lit the background, and also another one behind the camera. And that's it for the first method. You can from here up the render samples, fix anything you need like camera position or the floor color, and just render it. For the second method, well, it's more of an upgrade. We keep this light set and add to it a more cinematic or disco vibe lights, and we do that simply by changing the light colors. With the color here, you need to go with cold versus warm light, so with this one we can make it toward blue, and for the opposite one we will go with orange or reddish color, something like that. I do usually keep my top light on white, but you can experiment with that. And again hit render to see the result. For the next method, I will move those lights into a new collection and turn them off. We will showcase a world lighting that most beginners do, so I added the environment texture here and it turned pink because it need a map, so select the HDRI and you will have something like this. We can up the strength a bit to show it more. Now as an architect, HDRIs are more than helpful to me, but in studio lightings, using them is not recommended. You can tweak them a bit, still will mostly gives you plain renders. We can up the last method by turning on the light set we made. This will give you more exciting renders to show around. However, most of the effect here comes from the light set, and the HDRI didn't do much as you see, so for me it's just not worth adding it. And you can always fix your renders with editing softwares, so again, HDRIs is not recommended in those kind of lightings. In the fifth method, what we can do is add emission light materials. Now in this model, we don't have anything to lit up with emission, so I will add couple of spheres to the scene, and join them together as one object. In the material settings, add a new material and make it on emission shader, change the color to blue and up the strength depending on the scene you're working on. We can also add an emission light under the chair, so with a simple cube, scale it around to fit, and move it under the model, then add to it the same light material, change its number and make the color toward orange. Render it now to see the effect. For the last method we have, I will add a new cube around the entire scene. In the materials settings, switch to the shading edit and delete the principal BSDF. Then add a volume node and connect it to the volume input. Experiment with the density and other values until you get a good result. I usually just make the density 0.1 or less, and fix the colors to the mood I want. So that's it. Hope you've learned something with this tutorial. Stay sharp guys, goodbye.